How to create a client portal in Notion. In this video, I'm going to be explaining a template that I have here from the internet. It's a client portal template, and I'm gonna run you through it. And in the end, we're gonna add a client management page for you to compile all the client portals that you have so you can have a track of your clients and their status. Okay, so let's get into it. So I have a client portal template here. Of course, in the first logo here, we can change it to your client's logo or your client's picture. It's up to you. And then you can rename this into your client's name. So let's just do that. So let's say it has a plane icon here. My client is a pink airline startup, and the name is, let's say, Aero Int. Let's just say that Aero Int. Okay, so of course you can rename your client name here. Let's go and rename it. And then you have your project information, and in the project tracker here you can see your progress in your client portal, in your client's work. And I'm gonna explain to you later on here. Let's just run through the template real quick. And then after you have your basic information of your client, you have your help and support here. This is the place where your client can submit requests or questions or anything, basically to how to communicate from Notion directly. So the way to do this is, as you can see, the client will press plus new here in the database, and they can write the message like maybe when is the next delivery. And what's cool about this is that you can read, and later on, if you do so, if you need to, and if you need be, it can be incorporated into your mailing list, maybe in another page and in another database. We can add a link in this database. But the important thing is you can have an inbox database here in order for your client and you to communicate. And you can set the status to here. So for example, if you haven't read this, the client can change it to um, client progress required or need review or client approved and complete, depending on the stage of the message. All right, next is the project management itself. So as you can see here, it's a database with a few views here. You have your steps, you have your timeline, documents and meetings, and also resources. Now, the project steps are the breakdown of the steps that you and your client have agreed upon in order to complete the project. And the project timeline is just a time-based view of it. So as you can see here, if you have a steps here, if you have one of the step here and you put a due date, it will be displayed in the timeline view. So let's set the due date to tomorrow, 29th January. And what will happen is that it will appear in the project timeline. So let's go ahead and go that. And you have your step in the project timeline. All right. And lastly, there's a back end project for you to edit. This is of little concern for your client, but it can help you wrap your head around the project here. For example, in the project process, you can see all of the steps, documents, meetings, and so on and so forth, all in one place in a sequential manner. And one more backend is the project tracker here to display the total tasks complete for the project. Okay, so I think now it's a good time to populate this Aero Int client we have here in order for you to um, have a good idea on how to use it. Okay, so let's try to rename our steps here. So for example, you are a heavy industry vendor and you want to have a custom um, parts or materials for the arrow end. Okay, so the first one is, we're gonna call it onboarding, on the onboarding stage. And then the second step is to design the material or the part, and then manufacture. And then after you manufacture the part, maybe you need some testing, so we'll have a testing part here. And the last one is, let's call it deployment, which refers to the time when you and your client will attempt to deploy the new part or the new system. All right. So once we have renamed the steps here, let's go ahead and add some activities. So let's, for example, onboarding, first meeting, and we can, the stage is onboarding, but the type can be a meeting, and also the ideation. Of course, the ideation is self-explanatory and it's an action step, so we'll leave it as so. And maybe the last one is the timeline meeting to determine the timeline and other things. So let's make it a meeting type. And for example, you have your timeline meeting due, but it haven't been really finished yet. So you can just assign one of these three status that fits the most. So in progress, is it needs review, or does your client need action for you to continue? You choose. All right. So once we've taken control of our project management um, data here, let's go ahead and look back to the project process and the project tracker, the percentage one here. So the project tracker is actually a just a simple percentage, and that takes into account the meetings, the new message, the document, and the resources. So if you want to track a specific steps for your project, so if you go back to the project management, if you see that the steps are crucial and it will contribute to the completion of the project, you should add it to the project tracker in order for it to be accounted for the percentage here. So let's just go ahead and do that. For example, the ideation is pretty important, so we'll add it to the project tracker. The timeline meeting, also very important, so we'll add that to the project tracker. Now, the interesting here is that with this system, you can determine if the steps in the project management contributes directly into the progress of your project or not. If not, like say for example, you have an emergency meeting and it doesn't really contribute to your project's progress, then you can go ahead and just skip it and not account it for the project completion percentage here. So that's all pretty much it. It's pretty simple. As you can see, you can add your documents, you can add your meetings and resources again. Once again, you can do that. What I'm going to explain to you now is how we can track our clients here. So what I did is that I add a client management page to populate and to compile all the client portal that I have. So I think one of the most important thing here to do is that you add your client portals from this client management page. So it is all compiled in this page. So let's see. Now, the way I make it is that I make a table view database, and in which the members of this database is the projects. Now, these projects will have the exact same template as I've explained to you previously. So let's say if you want to add a new project. So let's say this is the um, arrow nth, right? Now, if you have a new client, then let's just add a new template for it and change it to the client's name. So let's, for example, you have your automobili, which is a maybe a car company, and so there you go. Okay, so what you can do here is you copy and paste the um, the database of the pages you have previously of the client. Okay, and now you have two clients already here. So the next thing that I want to do is, well, for previously I don't have. I think the client portal template is not working. Let's see. So what you should make sure is that you have your client portal template here. So the way to do that is pretty simple. So you go to add new template, and let's say new client. And in this, we want to populate with the client portal template, right? So the way to do that is, let's go ahead and copy the client portal database and page. And let's go back to the new client template, hit edit, and paste. Okay, there you go. Pretty simple. All right. Oops, my mistake. I think we overdone that a bit there. All right. All right. Once that's done, you can save it by just going back. And so now we should have a working new client template. Let's see. All right, there you go. So it's still loading when it's the first time you do that, but that's because it's a pretty large template to populate, so it will take a few seconds to appear. All right. So lastly, I want to add status so we can have a track of which clients we should pay attention the most, and that can be based on a lot of things. That can be based on your timeline, your priority. So let's say, for example, now we just have this one property here. So let's add not started. Let's add in progress. And let's add done. Okay, so let's add this to, let's make this to into just one drop down instead of the statuses. Oops, my mistake. Okay, let's add this to only just one select. Okay, so now you can assign the statuses for your clients. So for example, if you're still working on the arrow end, let's say it's in progress. And let's add another one, example, client. And let's call this client done. Now, the other thing you can do is to filter out the finished clients so that you don't have to look at them and get distracted by them when you're managing your clients. So to do that, let's go ahead and hit filter here and filter by status. So we only want to display the not started and in progress clients so that when the client is done, it will not appear in the client management page here. So let's check. Let's say I've done working with the arrow end, and as you can see, it automatically disappears from this client management page, but you can still see it by turning off the filter here. As you can see, you can click the done checklist here so that you can open and you can look at the previous clients that you've done working with. Okay, so that's pretty much it. This template has a lot of potential. You can add more features to your client management page here. Specifically, you can add the latest update here, for example, in which you can get the info from the database in the client portal, um, maybe the latest edited here in the page. And then you can also add a new messages. Of course, this is the one that I talked about previously. You can add the new messages property to be the help and support database here, the inbox database, so on and so forth. I think that's all from me as of now. Thank you for watching, and I hope this helps for you. Bye.